Hi, my name is Terry Lee, and this is part 4 in making our duplicate, or in my case similar project. You'll have to excuse me, I've had a pounding headache for 13 days. I have to go in and get tested for COVID today, so my brain isn't working quite well. But I'm going to give it a whirl, give it the old college try, and I even have my hand warmers on, so we're in good shape. So this is the, well, I've lost the original. Oh, here it is. This is the original, and it had the stationery and the envelopes in it. Now, and I'm going to switch these out for little note cards. And we had the big pocket on the back. The reason I'm doing this is so quick is you can watch parts 1, 2, and 3 and see that whole deal in more detail. There's so much on here, and we want to talk about how we made, you and I, how I made some of these things so that you can reproduce them as well, because as we discussed, I wasn't going to go through every single how-to, because you're well, actually I am, and sort of, but yours is going to be different than mine. You're going to add different features on the inside, but I just wanted to kind of show you what I did. Now, once again, because of the sort of detail that we're going to go in on this, I actually have a note page kind of written in small print to squeeze it all in, and I have to flip the page and everything. So if I make crazy pauses, then you'll know I'm looking over at my list, or I may even pick it up. I'm sorry, I'm not going to make any more excuses. We're just going to go right into it. Okay, so we had the fold of the front and the back cover, and we had discussed how we had to decide during the construction phase which pages we wanted to be the cover, and I think that I selected a good pair, so that because neither one of them is the end piece like you would think, and so they're middle pieces, and so you had to kind of finagle that around, finagle that around to get it to work for you. So what we're going to do is go through. Now I'm going to have to keep moving this back and forth because it is fairly large, because I did go ahead and add that last section in. You know, I couldn't resist. So we're going to open it up from the left, and then I didn't put anything on here, and you'll see why in a minute. When you open this up, there's, let me look on my little page here. Oh, okay, so this is all fussy cut out. It took me a little while. It was actually harder to ink. I took my ink pad and my inker and went around the edge of that so it stands out a little bit. And that actually took longer, I think, than it did to fussy cut it out. Now, I want to show you, there's another place over here that I did fussy cutting. And what I mean by that is I take the big scissors. Some people use small ones, but I find big ones are easier. And I try to leave the bigger piece on here so I have something to hold on to. And then I tip my scissors away a little bit, but that might be because my reading glasses don't correct for astigmatism. But anyway, just cut slowly, and you'll see I'm not doing the open and close action. I'm just trying to do as long of a slow close as I can. You can leave a little smidge of white if you're gonna use the pad and the ink on the edges, because it will cover up the little bit of the white if you leave it. Now, you just keep turning the paper, not the scissors. You turn the paper, and when you get way down somewhere like this, I guess talking and cutting is not my strong suit. Anyway, when you get way down somewhere like that, you can try to turn the corner, and in some cases you can. Because this is so close to the corner, it's kind of difficult. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go over here where I know I'm going to be cutting around this corner, and I come in this way And you see how much easier it is to come around from this direction, she says confidently, and swing it around. And I may have to come in with the little scissors on that one, only because the rest of the page, and we're going to fussy cut this out, so just by it being this bigger page isn't the main problem. And then come around and meet. You'll see how I turn the corner without letting go of the scissors. Let me see if I can show you this. And meet right up with the corner that I cut right there. So this whole part now, let me do some paper here. This whole part right here has now been cut out. And then I will cut this little section out where I went in, and then I'll come back around and start and come around this again. Now I would normally, as you can see on here, I will do those little bitty stems. And do you remember when we took the tags? Let me get one. When we took the tags from that other kit and we used them as templates to cut out tags from our paper, that's one of the ones that we did right there, and I stuck it in on two sides to make it a side pocket, and then I fussy cut this out. And the reason I did is it was one of these, oh, I got one. This is an example, it's not the exact thing, but do you remember the long, thin ephemera that came in the kit? I took one of those and I was going to just put it in there. I was going to put something on the back of it and just put it in there, but it was too long. So I had to cut it down, and the easiest way, because of the picture that I wanted this picture, because of the music and whatever, and now it looks like Michigan. Looks like the state of Michigan. Anyway, then I'm going to get a big piece of white paper so that I can show you all these things. But I went ahead, and once I fussy cut it out, partially, just partially, it took off the top, and then I had enough room to put it behind this pocket, and it would fit without sticking out the top. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to close this because I need the room. But if you were opening all this up as a gift or whatever, you'd be like, whoa! And you'd be opening it up. Here are two more of the tags. You'll see the size that we cut out using these as templates. Remember how I showed you how to do that in the last video? Then what I did was I took a whole bunch of scrap papers like these. I had some more. I keep a box of scraps too. I used papers that didn't belong to the kit necessarily. I'm trying to grab some. Okay. I took some long skinny ones out of my scrap pile that I had left over from doing this, and I'll show you this paper in a minute. But I actually, I guess I'll show it to you now, because what I did was, you might notice this color here. I covered the back. This is the front side. Remember the white leaves that I really like, that I wanted to make sure that I got on the front side of the tag. That left the back side just plain white. Well, we know we can't have that, so I covered it with this paper, but the glue I used left wrinkles, and so we couldn't have that either. So what I did was I took a bunch of the scrap papers and I collaged them on in lines, not just pieces here and there. There's a couple pieces that face different directions, but anyway, so that's what I did. And you'll notice this one's like that as well, but when I put them in the pocket, I put one up and one down. And in fact, I like that one better, so I think I'm going to do them this way. Alright, now the other thing I want you to notice is, where's the pocket now that I've taken the tags out? I did go ahead, like I showed you how to do, and put the hidden pocket in. Maybe I'll trademark that, hidden pocket. Anyway, so that you can't see it once you take the tags out. So that'll make it fun for the person that you give it to figure out how to put the tags back in. So anyway, there's those scraps. Let me take a quick look and make sure I didn't forget anything. Oh, I did. On the back of this tag here, I didn't put any writing paper, but this is what I did. I sprayed it with, oops, come back here, with this. And you might look at that and go, what the heck is that? Just says gold. Well, it started out homemade alcohol ink, which you can make by mixing 3 tablespoons of rubbing alcohol, 90 proof, 90% is better, but 75 or 70 is fine. And then you put a few drops of food coloring in until you like the color that you've got. You get these little bottles. You can get a pack of 6 of them on on Amazon for $9. I told you I had a headache. I'm like saying everything backwards. But then I had already done, you can multiply that out. So you can put 9 tablespoons in and then use more ink, and then that way you have more when you're done. You don't just have 3 tablespoons. So I had about this much of the ink prepared. Then someone on one of the Facebook groups that I'm a member of said something about mixing acrylic paint and water and making a spray as well. So since I had this gold alcohol ink that I had made, I thought, aha. Oh, and they were talking about putting mica powder in it to put glitter in it. And I'm pretty sure you can't see it on here, but it's kind of glittery and it's gold. And I did ink around the sides and I made a little boo-boo there, but we don't talk about boo-boos except for I just did. But I don't think anyone would notice it as a boo-boo unless you pointed it out. So that's the reason I pointed it out. Okay, back to this. So I've got my alcohol ink. And then what I did was I put some of the acrylic paint. Let me show you this. This is just Art Deco. Oh, here it is. Just some Art Deco metallic paint in. And now acrylic paint is, you can water it down. And because you have to shake it up to use it or stir it to use it, because it is a water-based paint. Well, water-based and acrylic. But anyway, so I just poured some in. There was no measurement because what I like to call Frankensteined it in my kitchen. So I poured some of the gold paint in, and then to thin it, I actually added water to my alcohol and food coloring and acrylic paint mixture. Now, you do have to stir it up every time. You have to shake it up really good. Cover the little spray hole and shake it up. And after every few sprays, just take your finger and wipe this part off. And it keeps the metallic paint from filling up your little spray hole there. You won't be able to spray it. So there's a long explanation of how I got that, but I just thought that explanation might help you if you decided you wanted to try to reproduce that look. And I didn't do it. I went ahead and left the bigger splatters on there on purpose. On purpose. Okay, so we got there. Now, wait, there's more. I'm going to close this back up. So then when you get to this section, oops, that moved. We're going to talk about this first. So remember when I was telling you about a belly band, which is a band that goes across that you only glue on either side. And I just took a piece of scrap paper that was left over from cutting all this stuff. And I took a piece, just any old piece. It was about like this. And I, in fact, I might have cut it off the end of this piece. Anyway, anywho, I measured, this is a little notepad that goes in here for writing, and so I measured this out by looking at the 5.5 inch width. So then I decided on a 3.5 inch width, and then a 3.25 inch width for my paper. Now, this is just scrap. This is cardstock that I hand dyed in my kitchen and laid out in the sun to dry. And if I remember correctly, to get this color, I actually Frankensteined some food coloring and some hot water and I don't know, something else, tea stain or something like that, tea dye. I don't remember, I didn't write it down, I apologize. I did the same thing on this paper. Now this one ended up with a dark spot on it, but because of all the dark in the thing, I left it on there because it kind of went with it. And this is actually notebook paper, just regular notebook paper with the lines on it, and that's why I wanted to use it, because that way it makes it easier. And you probably can't see them, they're very faint, but that makes it easier to write on it. And then I just slit it. That's why I measured this, right? And then I measured this based on how wide the opening is on this. And then this is just stapled. I put 2 staples instead of just one in the middle to make it more sturdy. And then it slides. Whoops, if you don't catch the staples, it slides right on there. Okay, now moving on to the next section. I'm not even looking at my notes, I hope you know. Do you remember when we were talking about possibly using 3 of the circles to make a side pocket? That's what I did. I inked around the edges with my ink dauber, right, and my ink. Now, I actually got the smaller size 4-pack of the Tim Holtz, which is kind of expensive stuff. Ink, there was 4 of them in 4 different colors, obviously, in this one little thing, and it was only $11. So the reason I keep telling you these things about the price and everything is because if you're like me and you're just starting out and you may not have $500 to, you know, throw into a whole bunch of supplies to start out with, you can take $20 here, $10 there, maybe $30 a month, and start building up supplies, because the ink lasts quite a while. Once you get one of these for $10, it lasts, I don't know how long, but at least a year, I would say, before you blow it up. Anyhow, so I fussy cut out the circles like I just showed you on the other part over there. I inked around the edges. Then when I glued it, I only glued this part, and that left this side open so that I could slide this in here. Now, this is the tag I showed you from the actual kit. Oh, they're right here. That these came from. These didn't match at all, so that's why we didn't use them the way they were. But this one was just a plain green, and so that's why we did match it. I'm trying to set those to the side somewhere in case I need to pull them out again. I know where they are. So I decided to use that, and I think I showed you this. I took a piece of scrap again from the kit, and I cut it to fit, and I glued it on the front, and then I also attached, now this time I used a glue stick, and it didn't leave any kind of a wrinkly line, and this is also the lined notebook paper on the back for writing. And then I took another one of the, this is one of the long, you can tell because there's the partially the black rim all the way around, and I inked around this, I inked around that, I inked around this as well, and I inked around this paper on the back, but I'll show you that in a minute because I think it's kind of funny. So anyway, I cut this out, and I planned on putting it behind here, so I had to make sure it fit. Then on the back side, there I covered the staple with this little sticker, and then this piece of paper folds out to give you a long writing space. And I know this looks like a mistake, but it isn't. When I was dyeing this paper and I had to bring it inside because the weather got the better of me, and I had a towel laying out on my living room floor with all the pieces of paper on it, and my dog walked across it. So this is actually my dog's paw print, which I thought was so cute and so special to me, and so I put a little bit of ink on it to make it stand out. Okay, now this is, and this is the section right here. That's why we have this extra thing that I put back on. And so then when we flip this over, you'll notice, ta-da, more fussy cutting. It's a little bit harder to notice, but this clock and these feathers have all been cut out and inked. And I placed them on this page because even though it had this pattern, I thought this page needed something. It just needed something. And so then we come to the cover page again, and then this cover page, and then I left this big beautiful picture on the back. So that's how we make all of these inside parts, and I hope that helps you with the creation of your own. And I'm hoping that when the parts that we discussed in the video before this helped inspire you and show you how to make, and I just showed you now too, how to make the items that you can put inside your own project. Okay, so I hope this was good for you to get this done. Let me check my notes really quick and make sure that I didn't forget anything that I wanted to tell you. Tag from the dyed notebook papers. Yep. Narrow last page. Fussy cut clock. You say that 10 times fast. Right side in, left side in, front cover, back cover. All right. So that's it. And then we ended up, you and I ended up with all these scrap papers. More from over here, more from where I fussy cut off the top, and oops, even more. So what are we going to do with this big pile of scrap papers? Let's everybody say it all at once. We're going to put them in our scrap pile. Some of the bigger pieces that go to the kit, I'm going to put back with the kit, like this, and this, you know, and this, and this, and this. But just some of the kind of funny sized and the leftover from the dyed papers that I made, and these funny off-size ones, then I'm going to take them and put them in my scrap pile, and the next time I need to make a collage, then I can go in there. Now I have two scrap piles. I have one for bigger pages, and then I have one for little bitty pieces, and that helps me with my collaging. So that was one thing I did want to get it mentioned in there, and I totally forgot. Here's the little pieces, the little strips that I used for the collaging. I forgot to get those out and show them to you as well. So now that's really the end, and I hope this helped you out, and I hope you enjoyed this project, and whether you followed along or whether you're going to go back now and start from the first video and go all the way through to here and end up with the product or project. I don't know why I keep calling them products. With a project, completed project similar to this one. So that's the end for us, and I will see you next time in my next set of how-to videos. This is Terry Lee saying goodbye.